Hello everyone, welcome to episode 19 of the Yarnflakes Podcast. More about that in a minute. This is a knitting, weaving, everything podcast. My name is Audrey, and yes, I wanted to thank all of you who joined in the past couple of weeks. As you know, if you watched the previous episode, I've been on holiday, but I was noticing that some of you came up and watched the last episodes. And yeah, it feels really nice sharing with people, because that's kind of the point of the podcast, because I don't have any yarny friends or relatives, so this online thing feels really great. And yes, thank you so much to all of those who watched and joined, and welcome if you are new. I've been thinking that it was about time that I get a proper name for my hand-dyed yarns and the podcast and everything, and we had a couple of ideas, and then my boyfriend came up with Yarnflakes, and it's so ridiculously simple. I couldn't figure why nobody was using it, but I googled it, I looked on Etsy, I looked on Instagram, here on YouTube, and it was nowhere, so I took it. Yes, I felt like it was quite perfect and representative of all the little, flakes of things that I do in all of those different crafts. It's not such a complicated metaphor, but yeah. I hope you enjoyed that new name. You can now find me everywhere on internet with that tag, Yarnflakes. And like I said, I just came back from 2 weeks holiday. I was in Romania and I absolutely loved it. I didn't really want to come back, but here I am. And so during this time, I obviously had less crafty time, but I still managed to finish quite a few things. And since I came back a week ago, I started working a day job. So I was afraid I wouldn't be as productive as I usually am, but I realized that that didn't stop me, and I still have quite a few things to show you, including a FO of a certain sweater. So yes, I think we can start with the knitting content. I have two finished objects that I cannot physically show you because I made them for my boyfriend and I had to stay with him. You've seen the flax sweater by Tinker Knits finished. I'm gonna pop in here some pictures of him wearing it. I am really happy because it's a great fit and he really likes it. He likes the color. It's quite different from what he usually wears as a color, but I feel like this green really suits him. And this is a yarn I dyed myself. It's a pure wool. And yeah, being in Romania didn't make my English any better. But yeah, I'm really happy with that sweater, and he is too, which is kind of what's more important, right? I also showed you last time one sock that I knit for him. It was the first hand knit socks that I made him, so I only made one of the pair just to make sure that I had the measurements right, and I did. It fit really well. So during my time over there, I knitted the second one, and he now has his first hand knit socks. Same thing, popping in pictures of the pair here. The yarn I use is Dirty Chai by Wool & Boon, which is a glorious color. I absolutely love it. And I used some Opal black yarn for the heels and the toes. And yeah, it's really nice because I only need to use 60 stitches for him. But the foot needs to be on 2.5mm needles, and it needs to be a little bit longer than mine. So sadly, I don't think we'll be able to share socks, but at least I don't have to do massive socks, and as you will see, it still leaves me with a bunch of yarn from the 100 gram skeins. Now on to finished objects that I can actually show you. My summer holiday knitting project was these. This is a pair of socks that I made out of Drops Fabel prints, and this is in the blue Lagoon colorway. So the Drops print is not really a self-striping, it's more like a self-patterning thing, and it felt kind of funny because you'd think it's completely random, but it actually repeats itself perfectly, as you can see, like these stripes here and here. This is the first sock I made, and I've been really careful about making the heel nice. I made a German shoulder heel, and I don't know what was up with me. The first time I tried the German shoulder heel, it went really smoothly, but then I don't know, I had a little bit of a boo-boo, and I had holes here, which I hear is a common problem. So I just had to do some fixing to fill up those holes. But yeah, I made sure that the yarn pattern got split in the heel properly, and it made this. But then I made the second one, and there was no way I could start at the same point, and I just thought that, okay, they're gonna be sisters but not twins, you know? And it's not inconsistent. I mean, you couldn't, unless you properly look at it, you see that they're mismatched, but they're not a mismatched pair. So yeah, this one is just a blue heel, and overall I'm really happy with how they look. I did the 60 stitch sock, and I did a 3x1 rib, which is my first time doing it. And I wanted to try this because I like how it almost looks like the stockinette under it. You know, you don't have that really obvious rib. And I thought that looked quite nice. So, yeah. Drops Fabel, I really like it. It's sturdy, and when it's washed, it's soft. It has a little bit of a halo. It's not merino soft. And actually when knitting it, I don't know, maybe it was also because it was hot and we were in the summer, but it felt a little bit harsh on my fingers for some reason. But yeah, the finished socks are all nice and comfy to wear. So as I said, knitting socks for my boyfriend leaves me with quite a consistent amount of yarn. And I just love that 30 Chai so much that I had to make myself a pair out of it. And I realized I didn't have any ankle socks, which is ridiculous because even in the winter I do wear ankle socks a lot. I'm not very cold at my ankle, so, and where I live we very rarely get under 2 degrees, so I don't know, maybe I'm super resistant. I have super resistant ankle, but it's not unusual to see me in the winter with like a jean that stops at my ankle and then sneakers with just ankle socks. So I decided that I would knit myself some ankle socks, and I did exactly the same color combination that I did for my boyfriend, except I did a pattern socks, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the texture. It is more obvious in real life, but this is the cobblestone pattern by Minnie Phillip of the Knitting and Extract podcast and designs, and yeah, it's a really fun pattern. I really like it. It's simple as can be, but it gives this really nice textures effect, and it's quick to work, and I really like the look it gives. You can see the difference between the plain stockinette and the little paved effect, and that's really nice. So I have a pair. Again, I did this 3x1 rib, I think in ankle socks, this is going to be my preferred rib because it just looks smoother. I would find an ankle sock quite weird with a proper 2x2 or 1x1 rib. This has enough stretch for me to put it in, and it looks flawless. Again, I did a German short heel, and again I messed it up, and they don't look the same. This one is a little bit longer. I don't know what happened when I did this one. I ended up decreasing stitches by mistake, so I kind of fixed it, and it still fit. And really, I have to tell you so that you can notice, but I don't know what happened. I think next time I'm gonna have to do a German short heel. I'm going to take a break, focus, and not mess it up. Because for some reason, it wasn't as smooth as my first try. It's always the case for me. Whenever I try to do something, the first time around is going to be really great. And then, for some reason, I can never reproduce my beginner's luck. But, yeah, with knitting, practice makes it, so it's definitely going to work. And I just love that color. Oh, I love it. Woolen Booms is quite hard to get hold on now because she was Sonia, who is the dyer behind Woolen Boom, she was so overwhelmed with her previous system of dye to order that she does a lot of wholesale now, and whenever she does an update on her website, it's like in the middle of the night for me. And I'm pretty sure if enough Europeans would ask, she would maybe make an international friendly update, but I'm really glad I got this yarn when it was still much easier to get hold of it. Now, on to the big thing, and yes, I finished my faded sweater. When I left for Romania, I only had like a teeny tiny bit of the ribbing for the body done, and so when I came back, I finished it and I made the sleeves. And guys, I am so happy with it. It fits perfectly. I don't know, I really like it. It feels really precious. The transition between, I'm gonna get up. The transition between the colors, sorry about moving the chair. The transition between the colors is, like that boob shot. Transition between the colors worked really well, but it's still quite vivid transition, so to say. You see, you go from this very light blue to this purple, black and cream blend. And my fourth color had a funny pooling. It twirls around me and it makes it look like a painting. And this was one of the situations where something happens with your yarn, and I was lucky enough that I liked it, so I didn't have to rip it out, because I think I wouldn't have wanted to rip it out if I didn't like it. But I do like it, and it fits perfectly. I still have a bit of positive ease. Maybe I have no ease. I don't know. The sleeves are comfy. I really like the garter panel on it. Yeah, it's nice. The neck is nice and round. And yes, I think I might use it as a basic raglan measurements for me, so that, you know, by omitting, just making plain stockinette sleeves and forgetting about the crazy colored thing, you could easily use this as a basic fingering weight to experiment with and put cables and lace and such. I was really afraid when finishing it that it would grow when blocking, but it didn't. It just got a little bit of length, which is always expected, but it didn't stretch in stupid amounts, which is good because now it fits so nice and I feel it's quite flattering and I like it a lot. I'm lucky that today is overcast enough so that I can wear it during the podcast. But yeah, I cannot wait for winter to wear it more and more. So for the last time, let me run through the colors I've used. So this is Wool and Boon Bedazzle. This is Kindred Red. Oh, I've heard someone say it and they said Kindred. So I'm gonna trust the American rather than my weird mind and say Kindred Red. Tiger Lily. Knit Cosmic Streams Afternoon Tea. The Crazy Space painting is Space Cowboy by Wool and Boon again. And finally, this is Raven made by Black Elephant. So it's kind of all my favorite indie dyers in one sweater, and much like my Find Your Fade, it's really similar to my Find Your Fade. And can you imagine if I were to wear the two simultaneously? That would be so ugly. Crazy. I think maybe Stephen West would do that. But yeah, one crazy colored garment at a time is plenty for me. And I wrote on my Ravelry project page, I only did one row of each when I was fading, whereas in the pattern it says like to alternate for 10 rows but to do 2 of each. And I thought, well, since I'm in the round, I'm gonna change every row. So that's what I did, and I think it worked really well, especially with these two that didn't have so much in common, but it still got a really nice transition. And these were my finished objects for this podcast. I'd say it's quite decent, and I still have a lot of work in progress to talk about. First one is my Saturate shawl, which is a pattern by Orange Knits. And yeah, this is a shawl that I started a month ago or something. And I cannot wait to see the finished object. I cannot wait to block it, that's the thing. Because this is half pie or pie shawl, and this is my first time doing such a shape shawl. So you see it's supposed to have a flat edge with an eye cord, and my eye cord is, I think it's Christine from Yarnflakes Podcast that showed her eye cord recently. I don't remember if it was in her new design, but her eye cord was so flawless, and I'm looking at mine and it's a bit wonky. I hope it will block out. I have faith in blocking. As you will see later, I basically rely on blocking to fix everything. So, yes, I have just added my last color. So I'm knitting it out of singles. The first one is Teacup by Hedgehog Fibers. Then it's Heyday by Hedgehog Fibers. And then I have 3 one-of-a-kind schemes made by Black Elephant. And the last one is this really bright orangey, yellow and purple. And you can see it starting to make an appearance. I ran out of memory space for some reason. But yeah, I was saying that I think I have about 40 rows left of the main body. But the rows are like 325 stitches, so it does take me a while to make one row, especially since some of them are purl rows because of Orange Knit fading technique. Yeah, you basically have to purl some of the rows, but I've been Portuguese purling these ones, so it is going better than if I was using my regular English style purl. every time I don't spread it out like this, except when I show it to you, and every time I do, I'm amazed at how beautiful that is. Again, it's gonna be quite a crazy colored thing, but it's not 100% rainbowy. I do believe that this shawl has fringe, like a really heavy fringe. So I do believe that with the fringe, it's definitely going to look crazy. But I just think the transition is beautiful. It works so well. The pattern has some eyelets running through it, and if you remember last time, I had a boo-boo at some point. I don't have it, well, I still have the boo-boo, but I'm not making any more. And yeah, you won't be able to see it when it's done and blocked. Yay! I really can't wait to finish it, especially since I have a lot of other shawls that I want to knit, and I've been trying to have one sock, one sweater, one shawl, and I think that's good. I think that's a good plan. So I've been resisting really hard to cast on my next shawl, which I will talk about in a minute. So I do have some new cast-ons to show you, and the first one is the Color Your Word socks by Ellie from Skander Knits. Ellie is running a cow for these socks, and it's going to finish in a month or so, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish them, but I had these socks on my queue since she released the pattern, so I figured I should just make them already. And yes, so the Color Your Word socks are a pair of color word socks, so that would be my first color work socks. And I do like color work. I really want to make more. I am going to make more, as you will see. And yes, so the pattern is written for toe up, and obviously, well, you have a chart. She gives you a chart. She gives you a chart that you can color in. So I spent an afternoon coloring my little chart. You can use 3. She uses 4 colors, but I decided to use only 3 because I wanted a more subtle look. It's toe up, so of course it would be easy to just flip back and read from the other side. But I kind of wanted to give toe up socks another try because I've only done it once, and they were my second socks, and I made them toe up. And I didn't quite like the process, but now that I have done 10-ish socks total, I figured I should give it another try, and I'm gonna have some other pretty patterns that are going to be toe up and that I won't risk changing myself. So I decided to give it a go, and it went okay. I just found doing the small toe really fiddly, but yeah, I'll see how the rest of it goes. So these are colorwork socks, and they're made out of 3 colors. So my 3 colors, this is not the one, but it's the same one. I mean, this is not the bowl, but this is the same yarn. I've chose to use Woll, which is a German brand that I can get quite easily, and they're fairly affordable. They are 75% wool, 25% nylon, and they feel a bit softer than Fabel as a comparison. And their sock yarn is called Söckli. So I don't know how you're supposed to say that accent on the O in German, but Söckli. And it comes in lots of nice colors, and it's really affordable, so it's great for color work. And so I have a white, a blue, which is the blue jeans, and an apple green. And this is what I have so far. Haven't worked on those in a couple of days since I cast them on, basically, because I've been distracted. And yes, this is my beginning of the round, And this is what I have so far. Little toe. And this is my colorwork. I'm using 2mm needles because this is a 70 stitch sock. 70, yes. Did I forget to increase to 72? No, I read the pattern really well, I think. 70 stitch. And I usually do 56 or 60. And my ferrule gauge, my colorwork stranded. Because ferrule, well, I'm not an expert, but ferrule isn't a generic term for colorwork. My colorwork gauge isn't a lot tighter, but you still don't have as much stretch as you do with it. So I try to slip them on my toe, even though it's just ridiculous. And it's not going to be too big, I think. They're definitely going to be really thick, comfy, warm socks, but they're going to be beautiful, so. And if you want to see my floats, I have done some colorwork before. Actually, one of my first ever knitting project was colorwork, and it was some sort of mittens by patterns that I made myself, and I used acrylic, and it went surprisingly well considering. But yeah, I'm not a very experienced colorwork neither, but this is what it looks like. It looks pretty neat, right? Yeah, it's pretty neat. I don't quite know what to do at the edges. Trying not to make it too tight. And these are all my ends. I have a ton of ends to weave in. I am breaking the yarn whenever I'm not using it for more than 4 or 5 rows. If it's just 3 rows, then I'm carrying it. At some point, yeah, I carried the white. Then you can see here I carried the white. That's ugly. Probably the prettier way to do it. Yes, but now, for example, I'm looking at the chart. I have 8 rows where there's no white, so I cut it, and I'm gonna weave the ends in. I think I'm gonna make the foot, weave the ends of the foot, and then go on so that I don't have a gazillion ends to weave in at the end. But yeah, it's fairly neat, I'd say. I've been really careful about grabbing the yarn from the same spot every time. That is, my main color is always going over the contrast color, if that makes sense. And you're only carrying 2 colors at a time with these socks. It might seem a bit complicated because you are using more than 2 colors, but in the chart there's only 2 colors at a time on one row, so it's alright. I'm pretty sure you heard that snoring. It's a French bulldog, so he snores. At least he's sleeping now, because my parents are away for a week, and basically my dog is a baby, and whenever he does not see his mother for 20 minutes, it starts crying. So yes, when he's going to wake up and realize that they're not here, gotta have to pet him. But yeah, color your word socks. Like I said, I'm supposedly doing them for Skin to Knit's knit along, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to finish them on time, which is by the end of August. I hope so, that would be nice. I'm not stressing myself with them. My priority is to finish my Such a Ritual, definitely. So, now that I've done the so faded sweater, I need another sweater to cast on, and it's not like I have a queue of about 3 pages, and more than half of it is sweaters, I think. Jacqueline from the Brook Knit Fork started a knit along, which is called the Hipster Cal, And she did it because she's tired of this. She wanted people to go away from the really, not go away, but do something different than the really trendy patterns like the fades and everything. And you know, I love my fades, but I have on my queue actually more complex lace cables, color work projects. And I figured it would be a good idea to get started on those and get more knitting skills. Not that this doesn't require knitting skills, it's just that the main focus of it is the yarn. And I'm thinking I want to try to make the main focus of my project, especially garments, the work. Whether it's texture, whether it's a technique. I want to change things a little bit. So I am doing the hipster cal with the KnitPicks Podcast, and I decided to do the Ola yoke, which is a colorwork sweater by Ella Gordon. And the rule for the hipster cal is that you have to knit something that has less than 30 projects on Ravelry. And these, when I had it on my queue forever, and it only had 3 projects. It now has 9, not including mine, I think. I don't remember. So I'm really happy that people are seeing it because it is a gorgeous sweater. It has this beautiful snowflake, again, always with the flakes, snowflakes, tree, yoke. It's beautiful. It's beautiful and it doesn't look extremely complicated. So I figured it would be nice for a first colorwork sweater. So the yarn I'm using is again Woolbutt Söckli, and because this is a fingering weight pattern, she uses Jamieson's and Smith. Is it Heritage that she uses? I don't know. The fingering weight of Jamieson's and Smith. But yeah, this was more in my price range. So, my sweater. I am a bit scared size-wise. This sweater is knit from the bottom up, which is fun. It's a nice change. And also, it's gonna mean that I'm not going to have to cast on that many ribbing. You know, I don't like ribbing. I hate casting off. Enough ribbing. So making the sweater bottom up means that I'm only gonna have to cast off this and not this, and the body. So that's good. But I'm a little bit concerned size-wise. I didn't swatch because I'm an idiot, obviously as you do. And my gauge is slightly smaller than what it's supposed to be. But at the same time, this really needs to have at least a little bit of negative ease. Because like a positive ease colorwork sweater, yes, but it's not the look I want for this one. For this one, I really want it to be fitted, even more fitted than this one, if possible. So, since I'm knitting it from the bottom up, I am kinda not sure how to make sure it's okay. The gauge is 28 stitches per 10 centimeters, and I am getting 32, which is a lot. I admit it's a lot. But at the same time, I have a fairly small waist. I've passed this ribbing over my hip, and it was fine. My hips. I only have one hip. My hips, and it was fine. And then I have a really small waist. So, what I'm thinking is that I'm gonna change my needle size for the yoke anyway. Once I'm gonna join the body and the sleeves, I'm gonna switch to 3.5 millimeter needles. This is a 3 millimeter needles. And this is where it would be too small. But I'm gonna go up a needle size. Plus blocking. Blocking fixes everything. You see, these needles are 80 centimeters long, and it's a bit scrunched up on these. I have a 87 bust. So, say, I'm hoping that I have 5 extra centimeters than what I'm seeing right now. And I have them. It just makes sense. So, yes. Please fit. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the body, it's just stockinette round and round and round in navy, so navy stockinette round and round and round and round. And once I'll put the body on scrap yarn to start making the sleeves, I'll have a tube, so I'll manage to get in it and see how that fits. And I think I'm gonna be fine. Gonna keep being lucky with these things. Have my little owl stitch marker for the beginning of the round. I'm not being very original compared to the designer's color choices. This is my main color, navy, and then she kind of has a gradient in the yoke color. I'm gonna put a picture of the sweater here so you can see how beautiful that colorwork yoke is. She has a gradient, and so she has a lighter color than her main color. So I picked this blue, which is essentially the same one that I'm using for my socks. And then there's a bright orange band in the middle of that yoke. So this is it. And then she has 2 light yellow fading into a cream. And I only had in this color, in this yarn, 1 yellow available. But I think that's enough because that's a pretty good gradient, I'd say. So yes, this will be the yoke colors. I can't wait to do the yoke. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's gonna be a really beautiful sweater, and I hope that I'm not gonna have to rip the body and start over again, but we'll see how that goes. So now that we ranted about being a hipster and not just following the hypes, you know, I'm a very consistent person. Yeah, I think I kind of have two brains, and they're all going in completely different directions. I want to do the Wonder Woman shawl. In my defense, and this is actually going to be really hipsterish, I've seen it first. No, I've been having it in my queue since I first saw it on Reddit, and then obviously it's been all over Instagram, and I mean, it's an amazing pattern. So the free pattern on Ravelry, the Wonder Woman shawl wrap by Carissa Browning. It's amazing, and that's why I want to finish my saturate shawl really bad, because I want to start this. So, Wonder Woman, red and gold, nope. As soon as I've seen the wrap, I immediately pictured this light grey and a mauvey purple together. This is Drops Flora, which is 75% wool, 25%, no, that's not right, 35%. Oh my god, math, Audrey. 35% alpaca, and it's really soft. It's a really nice fingering weight yarn, and I really enjoy working with it. It doesn't have any nylon, so not for socks, but Well, alpaca is quite strong, but it's just gonna be way too warm for socks for me. Like I said, I don't have cold. My hands and my feet are cold. I mean, they feel cold when you touch them. They feel really cold. Like everybody that touches my hands is always like, oh my god, you're so cold. I don't feel cold, but they're cold. I don't know if that's some kind of condition, but I rarely feel cold in my hands a little bit, but my feet never feel really cold. Sorry. This is a really nice fingering weight yarn, and I have 2 skeins of each, and this will be my Wonder Woman shawl. I am not sure yet how it's going to be, because you know, you have a background color and then you have the W, which is the Wonder Woman logo. And I'm not quite sure. I kind of feel like the purple has to be the background color. I don't know. What do you think? The thing is, if this is the background color and the purple is the W is going to be really obvious. And I don't mind that, but I kind of wanted it to be subtler, more subtle. That doesn't seem right either. I wanted it to be subtle. So, yes. I think the purple is going to be, and this is so beautiful, such a beautiful purple. I'm definitely going to use it more. This is the color 9. I believe it's called Amethyst. It's lovely. So this is going to be the background, and this light grey, which is color 3 light grey, is going to be the W. That's how it's going to be. This will be my next shawl to cast on as soon as I finish my saturate shawl. Yes. So that's it for the knitting content of this episode. That was quite a lot. Yes, I hope to have something. I don't know if I'm gonna have any finished objects soon, but at least close to it. And yeah, we can now start with the weaving section. I am back at weaving a little bit, even though it's for a specific project more than because the mojo is back. Yeah, I really enjoy weaving, and I'm definitely on the knitting craze right now. My sister's birthday is coming in a couple of weeks. She's not here anyway. I don't know when she's going to come back, but so I have a lot of time to finish it. And I thought I would try to sew her a top t-shirt with my sewing machine in like a full floral print. But then my sewing learning curve hasn't gone as I wanted it to be. I did want to learn how to sew garments and to start sewing tops and dresses for myself at the beginning of the summer, and I didn't. And now basically that I only have mornings free. Yeah. I do work on Saturday though, but yeah, it's just that sewing felt such like a process for me that I am going to wait until I have like a full day free so that I can tackle it. We'll see. Maybe by next summer I will have learned how to sew dresses. But that's out of the question for my sister's birthday, so I decided I would, it was my mom's idea actually, I would make her like a toiletry zipped pouch. So this is what it's looking like so far. My sister really likes purple and burgundy, so this is a Purple Heather KnitPicks palette. This is Current by KnitPicks Palette 2, really pretty burgundy. And this is a cotton, a grey cotton. I believe it's Wool as well, the brand. Yeah, that German brand has a lot of yarn. They have a lot of sock yarn, which is really nice. They have a really nice support yarn as well that I'm going to use for garments. And they have all sorts of different cottons that are good for weaving. And the warp is a navy cotton, simple Egyptian cotton thread. Yes, this is what it looks so far. I've made a twill pattern, so haven't talked about weaving in a while. So in case you don't know much about weaving, what you see here is tapestry weaving, and this is a plain wheel weave. I've seen it called tabby weave too. You basically go over one, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one, etc, etc, and you do the reverse on the next row. So you're basically covering up the warp and making those even lines. This is a twill where you go over two, under one, over two, under one, and if you do it, if you simply switch it from row to row, you're gonna have a sort of a basket weave, but if you move it in a diagonal, you have this twill. Then if you go one way and then the other way, you get the chevron look, which is here, which is really nice. I really like making chevrons, patterns in pouches. So yes, I don't know yet what zip I'm gonna use for her. I believe I had some black, a black zip that I could use. My plan with this is to be a little bit more conscious of the finishing touches of the sewing part of it. So what I plan to do is I plan on making the pouch, like maybe I'm gonna make something else here, and then I'm gonna make a bottom section which is going to be navy, and then I'm going to reverse. I'm maybe not going to make it symmetrical. Then what I want to do is I want to sew the top and the bottom on, well, the two tops, because it's gonna be flipped. You see, I'm gonna weave a band that I'm going to flip, fold. I want to sew the top on a black cotton canvas so that I have like a smoother connection to the zipper, basically. So the way the pouch is going to look, it's going to look like this, with a little bit of black cotton fabric at the top, at the opening, basically. And I want to cover the ends of the zipper properly, basically make something really neat, because even though it is perfectly easy and totally fine to sew your weaving to your zipper, it means that you can't really, well, I guess I'm not experienced enough with sewing to be able to make neat things like I see some people do. So I'm gonna make it easier on myself and use a cotton canvas to make the finishing touches around the zipper so that it's smoother and neater. So yes, this is what it's going to look like. This is my Becca loom, haven't shown it to you in a while. So yes, the goal is to be more precise with the sewing of this pouch, and yeah, weaving this will be done in no time. So yes, I'm not in any hurry with it yet. I have done some spinning, but it's the same thing that I showed you a few episodes ago. It's my red, orange, merino roving on my Turkish spindle, and yeah, there's not much to say about it. A fleet of little birds just passed my window, but like really close, and it's like there were several, like at least 10, but all flying really low because they were just on my window. happening, birdies? What does it mean when the birds are flying low? I mean, it's going to rain, right? Is that it? Forgot. Or is it something with the cats? Oh. It's someone really educated on all people's weather forecasting can help. So yes, not really anything to show you spinning wise, and I have cross stitched a little bit as well, but again not a significant amount of change to show it to you. I am trying to separate my week into two and to spin at least half an hour the first half of the week per day. Half an hour per day the first half of the week, and then cross stitch a little bit in the morning for the rest of the week. And that to finally finish that merino that I'm spinning and that cross stitch, because I have a lot of other plans spinning and cross stitch wise. So this is all for the crafty content. The last segment of the podcast will be, I forgot how I call it. What's hanging there to look pretty? What's hanging there? What's hanging there? And what's hanging there is some beautiful sock yarn. I stumbled upon Papi Put on Etsy a while ago, and she went straight into my favorites because her yarn is beautiful. She is from Indonesia. She sells 50-gram skeins of sock yarn. Thank you. Because especially if I use a contrast color, I really don't need 100. I can get a pretty long sock with 60 grams. So, yeah. So it's a really affordable way to have a pretty sock yarn. Wow, so pretty. So pretty. So again, Papi Put Yarn on Etsy, go check her out. She also does full skeins in case you want to make bigger projects, and all of her colors are beautiful. This is a lovely speckled blue with red and brown, and it's called Nelayan. I'm assuming all her color names are Indonesian words or from Indonesian culture. Sadly, I don't know a lot about it. I should. I have to mention that these came pretty fast. I live in France. Indonesia, France, it took less than a week to come. So, yay, Indonesian post. Good job. Good job. The second yarn I got is this really beautiful crazy color. Purple, green, yellow, burgundy, orange. Just lovely. And this one is called Binaria. I don't know. I have no idea how things are pronounced. And if I were to say it in an English way, it would be binaria. And yeah, this is 75-25% superwash merino nylon, and the 50-gram skeins have 200 meters to them. So this is lovely. This will be socks. These will be ankle socks. I plan on using probably a pretty white yarn for heel, cuffs and toes for both of them. I have a silver stellina white yarn, and dyed yarn, that I plan to make mercury socks out of it. And so, like I said, I'm probably gonna have a lot leftovers, so I'm definitely gonna have enough for heels and toes, and maybe cuffs for both of those pairs. And yeah, pretty colored ankle socks. So that's it for this week's episode. Yes, thank you so much for your patience. I know I haven't podcasted in 3 weeks. I may be able to podcast next week if I have enough things to show you. I should be, because I have a pretty relaxed week next, so should be alright. I hope that I will have things to show you, and if I do, I will podcast. If not, well, I don't know when I will come back. Definitely, probably in September. So yeah, expect another regular schedule by September. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I wish you a happy day, night, and a happy week. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.